Obviously, there's marijuana growing around every corner here, but knowing how to do it safely and properly is not something that everyone's sure about. So I feel like I'm empowered to give people intelligent answers when they ask me their marijuana questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Janice Mackla. I am here with Astra Chang. She joined me for a session where we work through some of her questions about helping people with medical cannabis. Thank you for joining me, Astra. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Hi, my name is Astra Chang Ramsden, but I go by Dr. Chang. I am a hospice and palliative care doctor full time for the last 14 years. Prior to that, I was a bit of everything: neurosurgery, anesthesia, ICU, accidents, emergency. So I am US medical school, US internship, surgical internship. Then I came back to Trinidad and started up with a whole bunch of other stuff, but eventually settled into palliative care after doing a master's in palliative care. I've been doing that full time since 2014 to now. I live in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. It's a twin island state, the most southerly island in the Caribbean. So I'm from Trinidad, and I'm one of maybe 5 or 6 full-time palliative care doctors here, serving a population of approximately 1.25 million people. So that makes me a very generalist palliative care doctor because I have to do everything. So I do inpatient, outpatient, cancer, non-cancer, hospital-based, community-based, home visits. If you name it, I've done it. As well as I'm very focused on education. Right now, I'm heavily involved in education of nurses and the general public. And what else do you want to know? I forget.
Oh, that's it. Pretty.
That's
We've
fine.
started at
Okay.
the we just have some questions. Before we work together, what were you feeling stuck on?
I feel like I have no mentorship. I have no one I can ask questions about marijuana because nobody has any proper experience here with this. We're just sort of all thrown into it. And, they're dying people everywhere. They're on marijuana too. So I have all this overlap with people who are starting marijuana because they hear it's anti-cancer and it's good for pain. And then I have people who've been marijuana users for years who then get cancer or who are now chronically ill, end of life, palliative. And I need to tell them something intelligent. So I did have a little bit of reading, and as you can tell, I've been reading a lot. But it's always nice to talk to somebody who's more involved in this, who can give me more guidance. So I was feeling a bit adrift and not completely confused, but just needing some reassurance that I'm not doing crazy things and hurting people.
Right. And what made you decide to do this program?
Um, I'm just eternally curious about everything. And so if I can learn something new that will help my patients and change how I practice, I definitely will seek it out. So um I saw it online, I saw it offered, I was like, oh yes, I think that's for me. Something I wanted to do.
Mm. And then what's the most helpful part that was for you that you found?
Being able to ask my questions about non-cancer diagnoses because sometimes their prognosis is a bit different from the cancer patients. They have a different symptomatology. And so being able to hear a bit of how we can tailor symptom control for our non-cancer patients. My questions were around lung cancer, not saying lung cancer, about pulmonary fibrosis and COPD and those kinds of conditions, as well as cardiology patients. I did forget to ask you about the neuro ones, but I guess that's another time. The ALS and Parkinson's and those kinds
Mm.
of guys. So just to get some learning about that, and then to be able to really ask you a lot of pain questions and chronic pain. I mean, I kind of know you can use chronic pain, marijuana and chronic pain, but to be able to say, okay, consider the neuropathic component, consider it useful in this kind of scenario. And I already knew how to dose street marijuana, but the stuff with the ganja tea, the marijuana tea, and the milk and no milk, and the marijuana butter, that's going to be eternally useful because um, it's sort of something that is very accessible to everybody. And because culturally, tea is such a accepted practice here, evening tea is very British. as well as using herbs of all sorts to make your own tea at home, not just the tea bag, but actually putting the plants in water yourself. I guess it makes it really easy. And now I feel safe telling patients, oh, if you don't want to smoke, you can put two buds and a leaf into a pot of tea and try with that and see how you go. And if you're feeling brave, add a little bit of milk for me and a little sugar. So I think that has been really useful and will change how I practice and the kind of help I can give people in my country.
And then how do you feel now compared to before we started?
I feel way more confident. I feel like I'm ready to take on the world. Like I really want a patient who has chronic pain or who is wanting to start marijuana for cancer pain. Like I'm excited. I want to give it a try. Because obviously there's marijuana growing around every corner here, but knowing how to do it safely and properly is not something that everyone's sure about. So I feel like I'm empowered to give people intelligent answers when they ask me their marijuana questions.
Anything that feels clearer or easier for now?
Definitely the dosing, and particularly if they're not smoking it, how else they can take it in. So I don't have access to the volcanoes or things to remove the particulate matter. So knowing about the marijuana tea, the gummies, the tinctures, the butter, that's really, really helpful. And I'm excited to tell people about that.
Mm. And where do you think right now you'd be if you hadn't taken this course?
I'd probably be a 5 on 10, but 10 being really confident and 1 being very confused. That's probably a 5 on 10. Like I can handle the marijuana and morphine patient. Now I feel like a 8 on 10. I feel like, yeah, you could call on me. I know what to do.
And if someone considered working with me, what would you tell them?
I'd say go for it. Be brave. Try something new.